policy, law, education, opportunity, well-being, social justice, community, voice, identity, culture, history, ending discrimination, ending discrimination. It's deeper than hair. It's deeper. It's deeper. It's deeper than hair. It's deeper.
Shameka?
So we are so happy that we have created a foundation, that we're a growing village. And as we were growing, we were seeing that there were some themes of advocacy that was showing up or that was amplified, and we wanted to create space for those in how we created our partnership. So right now, we currently hold these as how we prioritize how to get involved in having that collective support, which is around the creative arts, research, and advocacy and educational outreach. What you'll see with the creative arts, which is so important, is powerful things like what Dr. Bernice Rumala has presented before us, not only with the song Deeper Than Hair, but an animation film talking about, we'll get to that in a moment, won't spoil it, but the photography, the podcast, the TV shows, the paint and sip events in which we held here in North Carolina were so important in expressing the creative arts aspect of how we're showing up with the Crown campaign. Do you want to lift up anything more on the creative arts, or would you like to talk about the research?
Sure. I would love, and zeroing in on the paint and sip events that Shameka lifted up. This was so amazing. So I would love for you to just show them an example of what you did with the judge in your community.
Yes. So for last year, when we started amplifying Crown Act for North Carolina, we had a partnership that was identified with Judge Ashley Parker Dunstan and her lived experiences facing hair discrimination and being natural and her natural journey. And she and I were able to do some paint and sip events that the paintings were themed around our crowns. And we had an opportunity with Black women and Black girls to talk about our hair story, talk about what experiences we may have, and then owning our power and refueling how we see ourselves. So the paint and sips were an opportunity to have those candid conversations around our lived experiences, as well as how to help other people walk through that transition or choose to be natural or wear protective styles. That is more so an openness of our work, is that we're not specific to one. But we welcome all in the village.
Thank you, Shameka. And now in terms of the research, what we've seen since we were founded is that a number of our partners have said, including policymakers, and this is when we were very new, we need to see the evidence-based research that shows the impacts of hair discrimination. And so what we decided to do as a village is start a starter library of all of the research that's out there on hair discrimination, including the wonderful research of Dr. Patricia O'Brien Richardson, our Crown campaign partner. And we really wanted to show that there's scientific evidence-based literature that shows the impacts of discrimination, including hair discrimination, on health outcomes and environmental outcomes in terms of safety. Some of the research that we've shown shows the impacts of discrimination, including hair discrimination, on school bullying, and also the adverse impacts that this has on psychosocial well-being. And so we have a number of that already highlighted on our Crown Campaign website, www.crowncampaign.org.com, as well as .org, but also www.crowncampaign.com. as well as we've been involved in advocacy and educational outreach through having panels, workshops, as well as one-on-one conversations. And so I wanted to highlight the importance of really that educational outreach, and for everyone who's listening to this, knowing the power of even one-on-one conversations, even with family members and friends. It's powerful to getting that messaging out. We've been involved in letter writing, and I'll have Shemeka highlight the social media advocacy, which has been tremendous and core to our messaging and our advocacy.
Thank you for lifting that up. So with our social media advocacy, we have had the opportunity to really engage a lot of our partners and allies and friends in the community and lift up what's going on in the village. So we've had our advocacy is amplified, issues that people were fighting, like interracial activists. Our partnership with them grew out of us sharing content on social media and them wanting to further their engagement with pushing the Crown Act in their community. So what we have done with the social media advocacy is kept everyone abroad of what things are happening as they're coming through. We reshare with our partners and those that we are in frequent connection with, as well as those that are allies and friends. So if it's amplifying ending hair discrimination, updating state statuses or municipality statuses, or how someone else's power has been showing up to end hair discrimination, we like to take those moments to highlight and amplify those things, as well as your hair stories that we collect in the community on our social media to continue this to be advocacy and education tools that you all can have access to and use freely to amplify this message around ending discrimination in your community.
Thank you, Shemeka. And we encourage you to tag us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Crown Campaign. Also, in terms of journalism, this has been critical in terms of amplifying the voice and really featuring stories from a community-centric lens. And so we've been so happy to partner with our Crown Campaign Fellow, who is also a graduate student in social journalism, as well as partnering with other journalists locally and globally. And so we encourage journalists who are listening to this that we are looking to partner with more journalists to uplift this important advocacy effort, because it's critical in terms of lifting the community voices. We've also been involved in marketing as in terms of how the stories are shared in the media. And this is important in terms of framing. If the stories are not framed in a way that's authentic, then it also marginalizes and limits voice. And so that's why we are also actively involved and want to partner with those who are in marketing for TV, media, radio, so that we can help partner in terms of messaging and getting the message, the advocacy message out there in a way that authentically reflects a community voice. And then we have business and economic empowerment, and I will have Shemeka share on her Black Girl Magic Market initiative.
Thank you so much. So when it comes to addressing hair discrimination and how it shows up for people that are facing these inequities in the workplace, it is around this impacting how we're spending our money. A lot of the Black dollar goes to hair products and hair styling, protective styles that is very expensive to create a look that conforms to corporate America or in our institutional setting based on their socially comfortable level. And this financial and economic inequity negatively impacts us because we can't, because of the debt that is incurred from us having to look up, keep a certain look, to keep our job, to keep our residence, to keep our space to show up, and to keep our freedom. we're having to conform from and adjust and amend something that grows naturally out of our heads. So with Black Girl Magic Market, we really lift up opportunities to amplify any Black woman entrepreneur or manufacturer of good or service to center around the economic freedom that comes with us re-owning it. So if you're a creator of hair products, whether you're a creator of clothes, whatever your goods or service is, this is an opportunity to shop and circulate an empowering dollar into the economic freedom of other Black women that are amplifying through entrepreneurship or providing services and looking to find new clients and new customers. So we create a virtual world and a pop-up physical shopping experience with Black Girl Magic Market as how we show up to end discrimination when it comes to economic justice.
Thank you, Shameka, for sharing. And I will share with those who are listening that this necklace and this bracelet I purchased from Black Girl Magic Market. It's beautiful. And I just feel like my dollar was well spent towards economic empowerment. And I encourage you to visit Black Girl Magic Market as part of that economic empowerment. So thank you, Shameka, for founding that initiative. Shameka?
So every so often we have an opportunity to kind of check in on what's going on with the state through the Crown Coalition's website on the Crown Act. They share this. What you see here is a map of the U.S. and you see where states have submitted something, have not submitted at all, pre-filed, or filed and did not pass. And this is as of August 6th, the last time I checked it. So just know that this updates frequently, and there are some cases where we're working with states that are in the gray, more specifically like North Carolina, to help change these colors. So if look at the state that color that state is and see how you can get involved to change that color.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everyone has a role here, so please, we're encouraging your voices, both those within the United States and outside the United States. We need allies, so thank you. And so these are our partners, and we have to say we're so proud to be directly connected with partners across these states. And a Crown Campaign has been a growing village, and this map is still growing as far as partnerships. And so we encourage you to see yourselves as part of this partnership circle in the Crown Campaign Village. Some of the ones that I'll highlight here include Oklahoma that Shameka has lifted up earlier. This is interracial activists, and these are two high school students at the time who have done amazing work in changing policy at the school. So for those who are teenagers out there, I don't want you to say I'm just a teenager, I can't get involved. These are teenagers who have actively been involved in changing their school policy regarding head wraps. We also have some wonderful work out of New Jersey through our Crown Campaign partner, Dr. Patricia O'Brien Richardson, who is the founder of Curls on the Move. We have wonderful partnerships out of New York, several of them. And so I'll have also Shameka highlight more of our partners on this list.
Absolutely. I definitely want to amplify Curls on the Block out of Colorado, doing some powerful things around STEM and curls. So happy to amplify the work that's happening there. Art of Confidence, we've been working with since last year as well in amplifying his work around many of the young people that have been impacted. He's had the opportunity to take their photos through his Art of Confidence campaign. So definitely check out Art of Confidence. We also have our buddy partnership in Florida with Pretty Smart Law. Shannon pre-COVID, we were building some really incredible things. So we're looking forward to re-engaging with many of these. And this is not exhaustive. There are some more. One of our newcomers, there are some more new ones since even Nebraska with I Be Black Girl, but we're really proud of what they've been able to do and mobilize and how they're showing up in the space. And Alabama has shown up very strong too. We'll hear more about Alabama coming soon, but they are our first state to have a chapter. So we're really excited about the work that's mobilizing quickly in Alabama.
Yes, yes, with Alabama, a shout out to our community leader, LaShawn Hill. And yes, you'll be hearing more about her efforts later in this presentation. And as you're listening, please ask yourself, which state am I in and how can I support and be on this partnership map as well? We welcome you. And so these are our tools for advocacy in terms of ways that you can get involved. I will highlight the picture on the left. This is actually our Crown Campaign legal expert, Crystal M. Richardson, and she's proudly showing her lovely locks. And I'll have Shemeka walk us through the policies as far as ways that you can get involved for advocacy.
Absolutely. Ways to get involved, like after you sign the petition, we want to make sure that you have something to do next. So these are some ways, looking at number one being policy review, checking out what your work or school grooming policies are currently and how it's impacting you and your family potentially. Looking at the constituent power, looking at the local leaders and state legislative members that are introducing the policy, like the Crown Act where you live, whether it is current or maybe if we look at our partner in Virginia, she just really walked in to the office of a representative and say, we needed this here. And it was, that advocacy can be really just like that. So looking at how to also inform your friends and family about hair discrimination and share how to respect and support people with natural hair. And then also looking at those that wear protective styles as well, and protecting their natural hair. Looking at becoming a Crown champion, advocating in your community, choosing to lead intentionally, sharing this information as an education tool. All those things, educating towards policy change is what's so important in ways that we can show up that we're maybe already doing these things and we see ourselves identified at it. And education, be open to having natural hair conversations with your friends and family and create an educational opportunity out of fighting for social justice and creating conversations around the Crown Act and what it means to have it in your community.
Thank you, Shemeka. And on the education piece, I'll share with you that I was in Nepal late last year around December, climbing one of the mountains, and I came across a person who had never seen natural hair in the midst of that rural area. And so it was just amazing, just connecting on that as far as shared humanity and really just talking about hair. So it was a way to bridge the cultural divide in a way and to express what my natural hair meant to me, and also just to talk about other areas in terms of equity and what that looked like within the context of a different culture. So I would have to, and it all started with hair, because the person seemed fascinated and was looking at the hair and so many other things. And so then it bridged into a conversation. So definitely see your hair as a way to bridge for conversations across different cultures, both locally and globally as well. And so we have actively been involved since our founding in bringing advocacy to action. And so I'll have Shemeka tell us about the Vote and Be Counted initiative.
Absolutely. One of the things that was so important in how we show up when it comes to ending discrimination is knowing how to have your voice counted, your vote counted, to be heard. And part of that this year was so important is to be counted in the census. And we understand that for specifically for North Carolina, which is my home state, is that there's an opportunity if we have increased numbers in the census that we could get more representation for legislative seats. Well, why is that important? Because if we want to see things move to policy, to law that is more favorable to us, then we have to have more people that are in those spaces that will amplify our inequities and create these spaces for policy change and law to change. So does our partnership with the North Carolina Push for Census My Black Counts, through partnership with the North Carolina Black Women's Roundtable and the NC Counts Coalition, was us being able to amplify those that are under-identified and under-counted in community in hopes that our efforts as an organization to promote census and promoting people take the census would gain us opportunities to get more seats and representation to bring Crown Act for NC as a strategy here in North Carolina to bring the Crown Act into reality.
Thank you. And I encourage everyone, if you have not been counted, please go to www.census.gov and ensure that you're counted. As far as we also partner with the People with Lived Experiences team, and we're hosting listening sessions. And the reason why this is important is oftentimes when one is going through inequities, one is not heard. And so we wanted to provide a platform where we're having a listening ear for advocacy, where you can feel that you're not alone as you're going through these inequities. And because all of us as a team and also as a village, since we've been through it and we've lived through it, we understand the injustices. And so we are extending an invitation to anyone, as well as you and those in your community. If you're interested in participating in the listening sessions, please submit your interest to pwleleadership@gmail.com. And this is something that we're actively partnering on as a Crown Campaign team with the People with Lived Experiences team. Additionally, we have a conference coming up. This will be our first inaugural conference, the People with Lived Experience Institute Conference. And this is a founding effort with our team, which includes myself, Shameka, and also Yolanda, another new partner to the Crown Campaign Village. And we founded the People with Lived Experiences Institute because we believe that people matter. Your voice matters in terms of informing change. And so this will be a conference to share and learn from best practices with people with lived experiences in the areas of health, education, business, policy, law, as well as what community engagement looks like authentically. And we welcome you to join us. We're also welcoming of sponsors who are interested in our conference. This will be, more information can be found at www.pleinstitute.org. Again, www.pleinstitute.org. Okay, and Shameka highlighted earlier some of our efforts in the arts. And this is an animation film that I created, and it's called My Hair, My Crown, My Freedom. And I will play it now. As I'm playing it, I would like you to reflect on what aspect of the short animation film that you could connect with, and what does a diverse, equitable, and inclusive world look like to you? And so let me press it, and please let me know if it's playing. Journeys through different global lands and local spaces unfold the beauty and uniqueness of my crown. Cotton fluffiness growing in every direction. Textured hair expressing itself in varying forms of my identity. Twists, knots, wigs, braids, afros, and silky threaded locks, tenderly cultivated by the native sun. The DNA of my locks blossoming with generations of history, culture, and experience. Absorbing things seen, told, heard, smelled, and touched in the past, leading to the present for a brighter tomorrow. A will of its own, resiliently breaking through barriers to express freedom. My hair is my crown and my freedom. Live. Okay, Shameka.
Awesome. So, in our tools for advocacy, we've had some incredible opportunities to work with some brilliant souls. So, some photos here are from the Art of Confidence project. These were photos of the young lady here, very colorful colors. Her hair story is centered around the fact that because she had red hair braided into her hair for picture day, they denied her an opportunity to have her pictures taken because she was out of code for their grooming policy. And then right beside her, you see a picture of a very mighty, boisterous young man with his kingship showing, and that's Tink. This was our first advocacy case. Art of Confidence was able to give him this opportunity to kind of regain his confidence. But in the pre-K, 4 years old, he was kicked out of pre-K program because of his hair being out of grooming policy. And not only that, his grandmother, which is primary caretaker, has also experienced a lot of inequity, even facing criminal charges being brought against her, trying to just send her grandson to school. And the photos by Judge Ashley Parker Dunstan are photos of the events that we held around Paint and Sip. Which was either, just having that space to talk, as well as expressing yourself as a young person to design your own crown. These conversations were restorative and a creative, calming, natural way to talk about hair discrimination, our lived experiences, and rebuilding our self-esteem from when we've had to take those hard hits in our community from those conversations against us.
Thank you, Shameka. So we encourage those who are artistically inclined to express their creative freedom through advocacy for Crown Campaign. We welcome you. And so we've also partnered with Afro's Locks and Biz. This is a podcast that celebrates hair, Black culture, and business. And we've had two podcasts with them so far, and they're an amazing group of entrepreneurs. I would encourage you to please listen to them at www.anchor.fm/AfroLocksBiz. And Shameka, do you have anything else to add?
What I love about this team is their capacity to dig deep and talk about these things that are impacting us in the natural hair community as African Americans, and being able to talk about Black hair, Black culture, and business. Definitely a podcast to tune into and check out, and you should be able to find our recordings there as well under Crown Campaign.
Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, I also wrote a song called Deeper Than Hair, and it really gets to the root of why this is much deeper than hair as far as discrimination impacting our human rights, employment, law, access, health, policy, as well as our culture. So our goal is really to end discrimination. I know that we're having a few technical difficulties, so I may not be able to play it now, but I encourage you to go to YouTube and just put Deeper Than Hair and my name, and then reflect on the song and ask yourself, what does this song mean to you? And how can you address systemic racism in your practice? So in your daily practice, how can you address this? And then share your experiences in the areas mentioned in this song, whether it's experiences with education, with opportunities, with well-being. We would love to hear your story, and you can tag us at Crown Campaign on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, as well as comments on YouTube underneath the song. And so those who are musically inclined, you're welcome to the village. So we would love to hear your songs as well. And so we did lift up earlier that research is critical as part of our efforts. And we did start a starter library compiling research and resources around discrimination. And so for our researchers out there in the village, we want to see your article. We would love to feature it on our Crown Campaign site. And some of the articles that have come out include articles from Dr. Patricia O'Brien Richardson on hair harassment in urban schools. And she also highlights the role of bullying as part of that hair harassment, hair discrimination. We also have Dr. Manka Nkembeng, who is our Director of Research for Crown Campaign, and she has presented on racial discrimination, regardless of form, impacts health outcomes. And this was at the American Public Health Association conference in 2019. We also have another research paper by Dr. Patricia O'Brien Richardson and her co-authors looking at cultural hair practices, physical activity, and obesity among urban African American girls. And there's a plethora of other research resources in our growing library. And so we encourage our researchers in our village to please contribute as part of your talents. We welcome it, and our policymakers are also looking forward to it as far as being able to cite the research to inform the reason why this is important. And Shameka, would you like to add anything?
No, I think you covered it all. We enjoy our growing library, and all our tools are available for you to look at, review, download, and reference through our website.
Thank you. And as you were speaking, the one thing I could say that we would love to also cite is if you have case studies, and these include your own hair experiences, that also directly informs the research as well. So if you have any write-ups that you would like to share to inform case studies, we're seeking for this to be embedded not only in terms of policy change, but even in terms of education. So educating the next generation in the pipeline, having them have your stories as part of case studies to share as part of the curriculum would also be helpful.